everyone and welcome. Today I wanted to do a quick little video about things that I've learned moving abroad. As you can probably tell, I have an accent. I was born and raised in France and I moved to the US a few years ago, so these are a few things that I've learned by moving to a different country. The first one is, I would think, an obvious one, and that is valid not just if you're moving to a different country, but if you're traveling to a different country, is that you need to be open-minded. The way that things work in your country are obviously going to be very different from the ones of a completely different culture. So I think being open-minded and tolerant and, understanding that things can be different and you need to be mindful of not offending other people is something that's really important when you move to a different country. To follow up on that, sometimes things won't make sense and you just need to roll with it. You need to accept that things, are different, and that if it makes sense to everybody else living in this country, you just need to go with it and embrace it. And sometimes you wonder why, but that's just how things are. One of the things that gave me that feeling, and now I'm used to it so I don't really mind, was turning right on red. Where I come from, if it's red, it's red. It means you don't turn, you don't move, it's red for a reason. So when I started driving here, I would get honked at for not turning right on red. It made no sense to me. But yeah, you just need to, in this case, literally roll with it and understand that, what you're used to is not what works here. Now I'm used to it. Took me a couple years to get used to it, but, eventually it happened. You will miss things that you never thought you would. When I was living in Paris, honestly, Paris was really getting to me, and I think it's the case for a lot of people who live there. Paris it's a very big city, it's a very stressful city, it's beautiful and it's absolutely worth visiting. There's so much to see and do, there's so much history. I'm biased obviously, but it's one of my favorite cities in the world, at least from the ones that I have seen. However, when you live there, it can get very, it's a very gray city. The weather there, it's not nice weather. We like to joke and say that it rains 360 days a year. It is, very rainy. The winter can get very, very depressing very quickly. And because it's very fast paced too, it can be very tiring. So I remember taking the metro to go to work and being like, oh my god, I can't wait to not have to take this public transportation anymore. It's just so stressful. And now I miss Parisian public transportation, because what I didn't realize at the time is how spoiled I was, that I had a public transportation system that worked and that was efficient. Despite going on strike every other week, it is a very efficient system. In Paris, you can get around, you can get from point A to point B, you can get to anywhere in the city and outside the city quickly, because there is a network of public transportation that is very widespread and very well maintained. Now, I believe we do pay more taxes in France because of things like that, but that is something that for me is not a problem. But yeah, so I never thought I would miss public transportation from Paris, and yet that's one of the things that I miss the most. It's okay to feel down and to feel homesick. And that's something that is not easy, because I think anyone that has immigrated somewhere, particularly to the United States, immigration is a very tedious process. Not everybody can afford it. Not everybody can, have this opportunity. And so when you finally get your visa, it feels like a success, and it feels like you've had everything you could wish for. And, why would you feel sad? Why would you feel down and homesick when, this is what you wanted? So it's very easy to feel like you're not allowed to feel sad. And I think it's very important to point out that if you're going through that, because you just moved to a different country. Even though it is what you wanted, it's okay to feel sad. It's normal, and it doesn't mean that you're not grateful for the opportunity. The last thing that I have learned and that I would give as advice to anyone who's moving to a different country is to learn about the financial and healthcare system in the country that you're moving to. You know, every country has a different system. A lot of things change from country to country, and I think that those are two different industries that it's important to know well if you want to make sure you're going to succeed. The way that, you know, credit score and all those things work here in the United States is very different from what I grew up with in France, and I had a very hard time understanding why I was having such a hard time getting a credit card. So understanding, you know, how to improve my credit score was very helpful, so I could apply for credit cards. Same thing with the healthcare system. I come from a country where I don't have to worry about healthcare. It's something, you know, I know that I'm never going to be in debt because I have to go to the doctor. Very different from the United States, where it's extremely costly to, you know, go to the doctor, and where there is a business to health, which I find amazing. And this is one of those like cultural differences that I have to adapt to. But I think it's very true for, you know, different countries. If you move from the US to France, you're also going to be very thrown off by the differences in the healthcare system, and it's important to understand how it works. So the day you actually need it, you are, you know, aware of what you need to do and the steps you need to take. I hope this was helpful to anyone looking to move to a different country. If you've moved to a different country, or if you've moved here to the US and you have other things that you've learned, or, you know, advice that you want to give to anyone, or even to myself, because I'm always grateful for any advice that I can get, let me know in the comments below. Also, don't hesitate to subscribe to this channel if you like my videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!